How to remember everything for the rest of your life. Being able to remember anything at will is powerful, because having a sharp memory sets you apart. Forgetfulness isn't just inconvenient, but it actually holds you back from being your best self. Whereas being able to remember anything can be so useful to you, as you can point out any useful information you have learned in your meetings or even to your boss. In today's world, with so much information coming at us, texts, notifications, endless content, it's no wonder our memory feels like they are being delayed. We've become so reliant on our phones to remember for us that our brains are losing their edge. Our brains can be so much more useful than any device. After all, it's the most powerful tool we own in our lives. I'll show you how you can make the most out of your brain. And to have such memory, you don't even need talent for this. Memory is a skill, and with the right techniques, you can train your brain to retain what matters for the rest of your life. Stay until the end, and I'll show you exactly how. Understand how memory works. Memory is like a muscle. You can strengthen it, but only if you understand how it functions. Most people struggle to remember things because they rely on rote memorization, which isn't how our brains are designed to retain information. Your memory isn't a vault where information gets locked away forever. It's more like a whiteboard. Things will stay on it only if you reinforce them. Our brain tries to process thousands of inputs daily, and if you don't signal that something is important, it fades. We might read, hear, or see something once. If we don't prioritize them as important, it fades. The solution is to think of memory as storytelling. For example, if you're trying to remember a name, don't just repeat it, but attach it to a physical space, because our brains are wired to remember physical spaces easily. Let's say you wanted to remember someone's name, which is Rose. Picture a bright red rose blooming in front of you when you say their name. When the time comes to remember their name, you don't have to search the name in your mind to find it, but you just gotta recall the physical space that you just envisioned. It's also better to link something new to something familiar if you're trying to memorize historical dates. Tie them to personal milestones. Now for the next step, visualize everything. Think back to school. Most of us were told to memorize by repeating facts over and over. But that's boring, and your brain hates it if it's boring. It forgets dry information because there's no emotional or visual hook to make it stick. You can remember faces more easily than names because faces are visual. To hack your memory, turn everything into vivid mental pictures. Let me demonstrate. Let's say you want to remember a grocery list: apples, bread, and milk. Picture this in your mind: a giant apple bouncing on a loaf of bread while being drenched in a waterfall of milk. It looks ridiculous and random, but it's very memorable. This was just an example, but the crazier or more emotional the image, the easier it is to remember. Visualizing information forces your brain to engage deeply, making it stick. This technique is ancient but powerful. Imagine walking through a familiar place, like your home, and mentally placing things you want to remember in specific spots. When you need to recall the list, you just walk through your memory palace and pick up the items. The next step is spaced repetition. Here's the harsh truth. If you don't review what you learn, you'll forget about 90% of it within a week. Your brain is efficient. It discards unused information to make room for new inputs. Spaced repetition is like watering a plant at just the right intervals. By reviewing information at increasing gaps, right after learning, then a day later, then a week, you force your brain to move it from short-term to long-term storage. What you need to do: after you learn something, revisit it 3 times. Once that same day, once the next day, and once a week later. Each time, test yourself without looking at the material. And by explaining something that you remembered to someone else is the ultimate review. If you can teach it, you know it. Spaced repetition isn't draining, it's smart, sustainable learning. By reviewing at just the right moments, you're telling your brain, this is important and it needs to be remembered. Next step is to master focus and attention. Let's face it, our attention spans are under attack. Between social media, notifications, and multitasking, most of us are operating in constant distraction mode. And when you're distracted, your memory suffers. Because to truly remember everything at will, you will need to be very focused and must cut off useless distractions no matter what. By focusing better, you remember better. It's logical. Multitasking is a myth. It splits your attention and reduces your brain's ability to absorb and store information. What you truly need to do in this case is to go deep. When learning something, you must eliminate all distractions. Set your phone to Do Not Disturb, clear your workspace, and commit to focused, undistracted time. To improve your focus, you can also practice meditation. It's highly effective, speaking from experience. It trains your brain to stay present. It might be hard for most people, but meditation can be a powerful habit that can help you with other things in life. To truly enhance your focus with remembering, you need to engage multiple senses. If you're trying to remember a book, read it out loud, take notes, or even draw diagrams. Because the more senses you involve, the better your brain retains it. For the last step, you need to take care of your brain. Just like any muscle needs rest, your memory is the same. It isn't just mental, it's physical. A tired, stressed, or undernourished brain simply can't perform at its best. Think of your brain like an engine. It needs proper fuel and maintenance to run smoothly. Take care of your body, and your memory will follow. You need to prioritize sleep. Without 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep, it's like trying to save files on a broken hard drive. You get the point. You need to rest properly so that your brain can properly function your memories. Exercise increases blood flow to the brain, which boosts cognitive function and memory. It may be surprising for most people, but when you think about it, exercises can grow the most benefits for your overall well-being. So, get active. Whether if it's by doing sports or going to the gym, it's a must. A healthy brain is a sharp brain. When you give your body what it needs, your mind becomes a powerful tool. When you master the art of memory, you gain confidence, unlock your potential, and create stronger connections with the people around you. It's a skill that you can improve starting today. So start training your brain to remember everything that truly matters. I would appreciate it if you could like and subscribe to show some love. Until next time.